this is your punishment, you know? Now, the previous game that I mentioned, the Broken Bond, did do it a bit better, where there wasn't really a way to avoid the ultimate, but you could lessen the damage. I mean, you could avoid it if you really did. But basically, how the Broken Bond did it was, you use the left and right sticks as, use the left and right sticks as your hands when you do quote-unquote hand signs. And when you do those hand signs, you charge your chakra, and a couple little, I want to call them bubbles, appear around you, or like on your body. And the more bubbles it's hard to explain. Basically, the more that you get from them, like the more, let's call them levels. The higher the level you can get, the higher the damage with the damage or the effect, because I think everyone had some sort of jutsu that was like a buff or a debuff. Like it buffed you or it debuffed your opponent. Like Naruto had his sexy jutsu, which I'm pretty sure what it did was it confused the opponent and made their controls backwards. Sasuke had his Sharingan, which made it so that he could automatically dodge a certain number of attacks, and the more levels you got out of it, the more he could, and it got to a ridiculous level where you could get like 20 attacks dodged. So you can't technically avoid it. What you had to do was either hit them while they were charging it, or you had to be really good at the damage one's minigames. Win the battle, waking mode is not possible, support character at least twice. I don't really care about the sub-objectives. And that's how you do that. Now. But yeah, I liked how the Broken Bond did. So it was all about lessening the damage.
I'm ready to go anytime.
Whereas like here, I don't think you should be able to do that, because a lot of the ultimates are easy to avoid. Especially in the later games. The later games, it is so much easier to avoid because you don't have to time your substitutions anymore. In this game, you have to press the block button just before an attack to substitute. Until Generations, which start the substitution bar, you got 4 substitutions, and you can use them whenever you want. So yeah, and it makes it a lot easier when you have the substitution bar. I mean, in this game it's based off chakra, the little blue bar there.
I was cool, wasn't I, Sakura?
Conditions fulfilled.
So, alright, so I should probably be talking about the story. Basically, the story as to right now is these 3 are put on a team together, and they have to prove themselves to their sensei. I'm not really gonna go over the story, but maybe little Easter eggs and shit like that. And you're gonna notice that scrolls are popping up. Those scrolls are, you use those to buy support attacks. In this game, which is another cool thing, by the way, that they took out of this game, all of the supports, you could buy extra attacks and find extra attacks for them. You weren't relegated to the 1 move or the 2 moves that you were given. Like, for example, Sasuke has like 3 or 4 fireball jutsus. He has one that's like a spread shot, one's just like a straight fireball. He has his Chidori. So this one we just gotta collect 5 cats. This one's Ezzy Pezzy. And sadly, yes, this one is story. And this is basically just teaching you the basics of what you can do for like running around. Although, to get this far, you would need to have done some of the missions and therefore figure them out on your own. So, yeah. There's a couple things I didn't know, like you couldn't run up walls. You can't run on walls like default, even though in the battle arenas you can. which barely happens, believe it or not. I think I've done it once in the entire game, and yet everyone was like, oh, Storm 4, running on walls again. Even though Storm 4 lied, by the way. In case you were... I will get to that eventually. What you need to know is that wall running battles are awesome. And Storm 4 lied about having them. They're in the story mode for like 2 matches. That's it. And wall battling is awesome, by the way, but... I mean, I can barely do it here. Like, I can barely do it in a game where you can do it in almost every stage. So now we have rope spinning. Dear God, why did they take all these out? And then I think I can just do this. Fuck! Whatever. The rope spinning is something I'm not a fan of. If you get it perfect, it requires no concentration. And if you don't, it is hell. Wait, where's the fucking... Oh. So how was I supposed to get up here with the rope spinning? Anyways, yeah, so I really do like the anime. Now, when we get into Storm 2, I'm not gonna be able to say as much because I didn't watch a lot. I haven't gotten that far in Shippuden, and the reason I'm stuttering is because I couldn't find the right words. Basically, I got to the destruction of the Leaf arc in Shippuden, and that was it. I haven't watched it since, mainly because I know what happens in the end, and I don't want to go through, you know, fucking filler after filler. I mean, here's my opinion on filler. Filler can be done right. Filler can be done really right. I plan on actually reviewing, filler, what was it, the filler for 7 Deadly Sins, and saying what it did wrong and what it could have done right. The Signs of a Holy War arc, though, is just, it's bad. It's bad. But anyways, some of my favorite arcs in Naruto Shippuden are filler, but it's just the Ninja War arc went on way too long. Like, I had friends who were telling me about it. They're on a boat. Everybody looking at them because they're standing on a boat. It just went on way too long. And then apparently in the subbed, it's still going on because they're basically just
mission success.
They're using filler as filler, like literally. It's like that one Simpsons joke where Marge says she can only stuff Homer's pork chops with sawdust so much to fill them up. You know, you can only fill up your story so much with garbage. So, yeah, that's why I really haven't been watching Shippuden. So I know all the good stuff that's gonna happen, and the rest of it is, you know, I don't want to go through. So this is something kind of cool. Basically, you're leaping along the trees, like in Road to Ninja. Not to be confused with Boruto, by the way. Road to Boruto. And that's about it, but still. The tree running segments are the coolest. And it would have been kind of cool to see, like, what everyone's powers in the tree running segments were. But then again, like, how would you do that? How would you do that with, like, friends and stuff? I mean, this game doesn't even have online. Yeah, spoilers. If you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna get this game and play it online, no, you can't. At some point, I might go through this and just kind of show all the characters off, but I won't be playing all the characters, but I'll show them off, you know? I'll show off, like, every single character in the game. There's a lot based on what I thought would be in the game. I was trying to think of how to say it. Also, this game did have DLC, surprisingly. On PlayStation, where this game was exclusive originally. If you're wondering, this game is part of the Naruto Storm Legacy. I bought the trilogy, which you can only get on demand, but they basically... I don't want to say remaster, because I don't think they remastered any of the games. They basically just re-released all the games for the newest generation of consoles. Oops. I skipped that. Oh, the worst thing about this game... No Zabuza and Haku. Why? Arguably, Zabuza and Haku are the people who made Naruto the way he is, but if you haven't watched the series, I'm not saying shit about them. But this is kind of the cool, like, little Mario Party thing. I call it Mario Party, I don't know. It would have been cool to have seen this, like, done in a way that could be competitive. But, at the same time, how would you do it competitive? Especially when this game, again, didn't have online. I mean, on Xbox it doesn't have online. I don't know if it originally... I could have sworn it did originally. And I guess it would kind of make sense. The way I would see it, if it did have online and they decided not to make it online, it'd be server related. They didn't want to make a server for it, or the server for it was dead or something. Yeah, someone out there who's watching, tell me if I'm right or not. Tell me if this game really did have online and I'm just stupid. Because it doesn't now. You can't play online. Not that I know of, unless there's some secret trick. At the main menu, there's only like 3 options. It's like this, free battle, and options. So,
Mission success.
I could be wrong. Probably not. It's probably something like the Xbox version was, or is, without online. Because, friend of mine actually said he played this, and he said he thought it was online too. And that brings me into this. I only recently beat this. I had it before on the PS3, and I didn't like it. But having actually played it and beaten it, I think it's pretty cool. The thing is, I was unlucky with how I picked my missions. I picked, like, well, I picked one of the missions that was a harder fight that I needed to know, like, the mechanics, and I didn't know them as well. And I picked one that was, like, the hard mode for the boss fights, and had you pressing, like, 5 and 6 buttons at a time in, like, a very small amount of time that I still can't do to this day. But, yeah, I picked those 2 missions right after, like, the first story mission, so that's kind of why I only just recently played this game. And I'm not going through all the missions again, that's why. I don't plan on doing all the side missions again. It's stupid. Basically, they're all just the mini-games or fights with no real context. Like, they're not that great. They're boring, in my opinion anyways, because a lot of them are just kind of fight with these conditions on. Some of the conditions are really stupid. There's two where you fight bosses from the game. There's one where you fight Gamabunta, Shukaku, and Manda all in a row, and then there's one where you just fight Gamabunta again. The one where you fight Gamabunta, Shukaku, and Manda all in a row, that was one of the ones that made me not want to play this game again. And I refused to beat it. Also, there's a true ending that I will